Attention. The movie guys love movies. Any comments about how the following comments are enough to allow for a tax write-off of all the movies we see are purely for entertainment purposes only. Isn't that right, IRS?
Government do take a bite, don't you?
I speak fluent Raising Arizona.
Raising Arizona.
Oh,
You are
for
fluent
sure.
in Raising Arizona. Paul and I often talk about this. What do you speak? I speak Raising Arizona.
Remember last week when
as if
Chris
it were moments ago.
Strompoulos were here? When he was here, we played the Raiders Lion game. Man,
I'm trying to think back.
I could nail the Raising Arizona. I don't know why I couldn't nail the Raiders.
Do you know the next
Well, that was
line
a
after
tough-
that?
Government do take a bite, don't she?
It's something. I don't know it.
Oh, yeah.
I speak pretty
I
good.
think they cut
Arizona.
and go to a new scene. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
I
that's
can
the end
only
of that
speak
scene.
Ghostbusters.
Oh.
Yeah, I
Very
speak that
fluently.
very fluently.
Me too. We
You
could
know
do that one.
because you can't. Because
That
Karen will do
one.
the classic movie guy gal thing, which is to toss off just to herself
If we did it in the last
a
show.
Ghostbusters line,
Yeah.
and I will complete it every time.
I have
That
a new,
would be a good game for us to Ghostbuster talk.
But
We
I have
could
a
do
new
that.
favorite Ghostbusters line.
What is it?
And I don't know if you've heard this, or maybe I've already mentioned it.
Yeah.
Did I?
No, I'm just saying
Well,
I've heard it.
He has Sigourney Weaver. She comes over for the first time.
Let me see if I can say it for you when you set it up.
Well, it's not even a line. It's just a word that he says, and he delivers it in such a goofy way. I rewound it several times. I'm like, that's hilarious the way he says that. And he says, "I'll take her. I'll take Miss. What's her name?
Oh yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Barrett.
Barrett.
Miss
Miss
Barrett.
Barrett,
And back to her apartment. Check her out.
I mean, check out Miss
I'll
Barrett's
check
apartment.
out Miss Barrett's apartment."
And
And
then
then
he goes,
he goes,
Gah.
no,
Right?
He goes, okay. And he
Okay.
says it in like the most hillbilly.
I know he goes like this. He goes,
Okay. And it almost sounds like he's doing an accent.
Okay.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I hear a banjo in the background.
I love the
You
line when
should.
he's going around her apartment with the thing.
Yeah.
She's like, you don't even know how to use that thing.
Well,
Are you using that thing correctly?
well, I think
I think so.
so.
I think
And it's
so.
all bullshit.
He doesn't know.
Sure, there are no animals in there.
Hey, welcome to the movie Showcast,
Come
everybody.
all this way. Would you at least see the? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
let me check the fridge.
Let's check the fridge.
As you can
Gotta
tell,
check
we
the
are all
fridge.
movie guys here in our movie guy
I forget we're
empire.
doing a show.
Yes,
Look at all
now
the
in our
junk food.
6th season. They laughed at Louis Armstrong when he said he was going to the moon. Now he's up there laughing at them. You've reached ground zero for all things movies and comedy. We bring the two together right here on our show every week with jokes, rants, sketches, characters, bits, special guests, and more as we broadcast from the Admirals Club in beautiful downtown Burbank. They don't stop making movies, so we don't stop making comedy shows about movies, which means you can get a new show every week on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Vimeo, Pulp Epic, YouTube, Player.fm, and of course, themovieguys.net, absolutely free. We encourage you to subscribe as well. Please like and share posts. Spread the word about the show. We have tons of fun doing it, and I know you like it, so pass it on. And if you do that, still no charge. We're also on WBAD.net Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern. Basically, just search the movie guys on the internets and Googles, and we come right up. I'm your host for the hardest working podcast on the airwaves, Paul Preston, here with Bart Caius.
Shh. Listen, do you smell something?
Adam Witt.
And with that, the game was mine.
And Karen Volpe.
I found the car.
Later in the show, I'll play you my interview with Katie Nehra. Katie Nehra co-stars in and has co-written the directorial debut of the great Chris Messina, Alex of Venice. I went to the press junket to chat her up, so we'll
Correction,
have that
that's
later.
Chris Messina, not Chris Messina.
No.
We celebrate Chris Messina at my house.
You're so
Right, right.
sweet.
Okay.
Is that like a small Christmas?
It is.
Yes.
It's a very miniature.
Just from 8 to 10 in the morning, and we're done.
It's a miniature Latin Christmas. Chris Messina.
Hello, Chris Messina. Hello, Chris. And that's who comes and brings gifts, right? It says, Chris
Yes,
Messina.
Chris Messina. That's how they say it in Sicilian.
Yeah, later on, I'll have it. Oh, wait a second.
What is that?
Well, I know what that means.
Oh, yes. Last year, when we played this music last year, we made a bid for the world record of movies previewed during a single course of one showcast.
Wow.
Like Johnny Carson himself.
Yes.
Just like that.
I think we hit 6 movie previews that day.
Wasn't easy, Paul. Wasn't easy,
Yeah.
but we did it.
We pulled something.
You got to stay hydrated.
We're going to attempt to break that today. The studios are piling on the new releases this week, hoping you care about them between Furious 7 and the Avengers Age of Ultron.
Good luck.
This week sees Unfriended from the makers of Dislike and Sad Emoticon. Monkey Kingdom, Child 44, and True Story all making their way into theaters. Oh, and there's this.
Las Vegas.
Take it in, Cupcake.
I'm finally working the big leagues.
I'm so proud of you.
That's Paul Blart. Mall copping his way to Sin City.
That's like the best drop you could get, because I was looking for like a good pull from that trailer that says this is Paul Blart or this is funny. Neither of those things could happen.
Welcome to Vegas.
We don't have time for that.
Where was Paul Blart originally? Do we know?
He's just in a mall, Century City, I think.
Oh, like in L.A.?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Do you think someone came up with the name Paul Blart in the writing meeting when someone belched? That name sounds like a belch. Paul Blart.
Probably. So,
No, I think they came up with Mall Cop 2 when they belched.
Mall Cop 2.
All right, Guinness has us back on the clock here, so we're going. We're trying to record break one more time.
that's right.
Let's make
Movie number 1.
Our first movie is Unfriended.
Oh.
Feeling a little too hopeful about the youth of our world and future? Well, Universal's Unfriended will take care of that for you. Bart? Paul Bart?
I do see my name whenever I see that title.
Our first film is called Unfriended, or as teens and tweens across America call it, A Fate Worse Than Death.
Unfriended looks to be a kids movie. Looks like it has a bunch of kids in it, being kids, talking to each other, having fun. Oh. No, Paul, please keep that going. It sounded really nice.
Oh, okay.
Why is he counting down?
Well, that took a turn.
That escalated quickly. After the video recording of a young co-ed's drunken sexual exploits is posted on the internet.
Probably should have rehearsed that.
Well, now it's part of the improv funds that you fucked it up.
The girl in the video is subjected to extreme ridicule from her peers, and 3 days later shoots and kills herself in the schoolyard.
Oh my God.
Where is the Department of Too Soon when you really need them?
Too soon.
At the 1-year anniversary of her death, it seems the dead girl, or someone, or something, is stalking and killing her friends online.
Paul, you mean actual killing?
Actual killing.
Not like killed online, like you like someone online.
No.
This movie looks like it has a lot of tweens tweeting or Facebooking or YouTubing and taking pictures of themselves with their phones. Grandpa Caius already hates it.
Grandpa Caius.
But he loves the TV show Extreme Ridicule.
That is true, Grandpa. Much of the film is shown through the computer screens of the teens involved.
People watching people stare at a computer screen talk about art imitating life. By the way, I've heard this movie is best viewed on your computer screen.
Yeah.
The trailer says, "Your mistakes live online forever." It's true. If you want to see our very first Movie Guys Showcast test show, it's still on YouTube for free. We're not committing suicide over that.
Too soon.
Take over 2
Meaning
years
we
ago.
still might?
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
I don't know.
Have you watched it lately?
This is one of those films where someone should say, hold on a second, someone's at the door. Wait, I got to get a better lighting on my webcam before I see who's here to kill me.
Critics are calling Unfriended the most Swim Fan movie since Swim Fan, and The Net for a whole new generation that has always had The Net.
You know, Paul, it looks like your typical supernatural horror film, except for it's set online. Probably because it comes from the producers of Paranormal Activity, Insidious, and
Ouija.
You know, it has you wondering, why wasn't this released straight to iPhone?
That's a good idea. Or I don't know.
I can't wait to torrent this.
Okay.
You can't release a movie. Well, you can. They released an album straight to.
They did.
Yeah,
iPhone.
you two did.
You can put a movie straight on iPhone.
All right, so when you guys were doing the jokes, I immediately...
When did that happen?
when
When
you
did that
guys
start? When's
were
that gonna
talking
start?
with the intention of telling jokes, it had that sound. I immediately
saw in my head an image of Jason and Freddy trying to use a computer to go online. I gotta harass these people.
I'd watch that
That
movie.
would be funny.
with the claw fingers.
Yeah,
Or Jason's trying to click stuff
Yeah.
and Freddy's over his shoulder going, "No, you idiot."
exactly. You gotta change your security settings so that you can,
No,
It's
no,
Jason trying to peek through the mask, so he keeps turning his head because he can't see the screen.
Yeah.
And he's so old, he's got readers, reader glasses.
No, you don't type it in there. You type it in the search bar. That's where you just don't type HTTP. You don't need to do that. Just come on,
And that's
man.
what started Jason versus Freddy. It's all a big misunderstanding about how to use the internet.
Jason versus Freddy online.
And then Jason unfriends him. And then
the
he gets
worst
all
thing you can
pissed.
do to somebody.
And that, Hollywood, is how you write a movie.
Right.
Just
And by the way,
that little magic you just saw right there.
pending, because
Patent
somebody's
pending,
going to
patent
write
pending.
that.
Yes,
Patent Ben.
Jason versus Freddy online.
As ever, I defer to The Onion for hilarious shit.
Sure.
Just today, it's funny we talk about this movie because just today I saw an article they have called "Bully Can't Believe Classmate Took 4 Straight Years of Being Told to Kill Herself Seriously."
Too
God,
soon.
they nail it.
Horrible.
Do they nail it?
I will say though, this movie does look interestingly clever on the way they shot it. Because I don't know, are there cameras outside of the cameras that we're
I
watching?
don't
on
think
screen?
so.
Is
Yeah.
this all done in
Computer
And
computer screen?
And then someone loses the footage, and then they find
Somebody
it.
found it,
right?
Yeah. Everything's posted online in this in the world and in this world, and so
Yeah.
that's where it's all viewed by us in the movie.
So it feels like a very inexpensive way, but very clever way of making a movie. Right?
That is one of the great things about horror movies is they know how to keep the budget down. I mean, think about the concept of a haunted house movie, single location. There's a producer.
And you
there's
just
a money
hear
reason.
something.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard something scary. That's the cheapest way to make scary.
Oh, and it has to be a shitty house. We can find shitty houses
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. It's a shitty, decrepit house, and all the crazy things happen only in this house. Never out on the street where you need to get a new permit. you
And
know?
the thing that they're paying, the thing that they would probably be paying their money for is hot chicks running around with no shirt on. But so many chicks that are hot want to be in the movies. They can get them pretty cheap too.
You can get those very cheap.
and you don't they don't have to act.
No, they
Yeah.
have no shirt on.
It's a whole horror movies really know
Brilliant.
how to maximize their profits.
Is this Blumhouse?
I don't know.
Paranormal Activity. and
I didn't
Insidious.
see that, but
didn't
yeah,
see-
Paranormal Activity. It's probably Blumhouse, and they're very clever too. I like Blumhouse.
All right.
And
Well,
it's got a clever angle.
next up is probably what will win the weekend and beat your clever movie. And if winning a mid-April weekend is a big deal,
Well.
Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, keep on blartin' or something like that. Karen, let's tell everybody what it's about. Oh, quick! I need something to wash the taste of Unfriended out of my mouth and mind.
Here, take this.
Oh, what is this?
It's Paul Blart Mall Cop 2.
Oh.
Still got it.
Oh, fat guy falling down and getting hit in the groin a lot. That ought to do it.
6 years after the original Paul Blart Mall Cop comes a sequel that someone has all been waiting for.
Either there's some demand for this movie, or the producers got tired of me hauling out Grown Ups 2 as my standard punching bag for shit movies.
This time, Paul Blart, it's hard to say, Paul Blart is being directed by Andy Fickman.
Who?
Picking up the reins dropped by director of the first Paul Blart, Steve Carr. Him?
Her?
This trailer pretty much shows all the physical comedy antics he's done many times over in Grown Ups and Zookeeper. In fact, this trailer makes the film look like it'll be Kevin James' greatest hits.
Didn't see it. That's clean glass.
Bart laughing up.
I will say there's some pretty funny fat guy getting thrown around scenes in this one.
I mean, we do need that. You need that.
You need that after Unfriended.
Oh, dear
For
God,
the love
yes.
of God.
I haven't seen the trailer. Look, watching the movie guys showcast. What we pride ourselves in bringing you some actual information
do?
and watching the preview.
Yes.
Okay.
So you don't have to.
Verbally.
This is where I draw the line. What could watching the preview for this actually yield? Does the audience for this actually need to be sold? That couldn't possibly have been taken into account before making it, right? Would they have made it if they had to sell it? Do you see any advertisements for Hostess Ding Dongs? And yet, do you see Hostess Ding Dongs? I rest my case. I rest my case, Lieutenant Caffey. You have the witness.
I want the truth!
There we go. That's a few good men reference. Right
I think I see your point, Paul. I think I think people just need to know it's out there, right? Just a sign that says Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, and people would figure it out, and we're going to go see the movie.
Oh, I like the first one.
Yeah.
And
done.
if you or you go, oh, I never saw the first one, and off you go to something else.
Yeah.
It's just like the Hershey campaign in the 60s. They were trying to figure out how to sell the Hershey candy bar, and they were trying to say, what can we relate it to? What does it remind you of? And they finally realized you just need to put a picture of a Hershey bar in the magazine, and people already know they're going to eat it.
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything.
I'm underversed in this genre. Was Observe and Report good?
Observe
that the
and Report
genre?
was weird. Okay, so that at the same time that Paul Blart came out, also from the director of
Pineapple Express.
who's
Foot Fist Way, right?
Foot Fist
That guy.
Way and Eastbound and Down. I can't think of the director's name.
Jody Hill.
Jody Hill. Yeah, Jody Hill directed this movie with Seth Rogen called Observe and Report, and it was definitely the indie, really like gritty, like the edgy, super edgy version of a mall cop, and Seth Rogen with all edgy jokes and like crazy like rape jokes that you're like, whoa. Have they gone too far?
That was a little dark, too, right? The
Yeah,
story behind that,
exactly,
yeah.
dark, like disconcertingly so. I've always wanted to rewatch it because now once I know it's game, now I think that's probably a really good movie, like in what it is,
And Paul Blart did this.
This man is laughing his butt off. Bart
like I
loves
said,
that.
There are some scenes of Kevin James getting thrown around in this trailer that make me giggle every time. When he gets kicked by the horse and gets thrown into the car, or when he runs into the glass door and wipes out. He is a great fat guy getting wiped out character.
So I was wondering if Observe and Report should be the one that's the huge hit, but it's Paul Blart.
No,
instead.
no,
But
it
it's
really
too,
should.
Too edgy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, Paul Blart is there for like the whole family and for the fat guy falling down crowd, whereas like Seth Rogen, that movie is just wrong in a bunch of different ways, and it revels in it, and it does it well. But that's just not the sort of thing that's going to break through mainstream and have a fucking Observe and Report too.
So we have
I
this.
have a question. I have a question about the logistics of fat.
Question?
Yes, question. May I? What is that? May I submit to you?
I submit to
I
you.
submit to you. Being a relatively thin woman my whole life, when I fall down, it really hurts because everything hits the ground. Like my bones hit the ground.
Yep.
Do fat people not feel it as much?
They do not.
Is
I was
there
with
something?
a friend of mine.
That's why we can laugh.
Who was
I'm
kind of a
curious.
roly person.
Yeah.
And we were walking down a flight of stairs at Miami University. This happened.
Okay.
And
Miami of Ohio.
and he tripped. And now these were very short, shallow steps.
They used
right?
to build them like that in college campuses, so we couldn't. What is that?
Slinky.
No,
Double step?
When people get together and they riot,
Oh,
they're called riot stairs.
is that what it is? They're very shallow.
Yeah, and you have to do two steps, and you can't really comfortably go up them.
So if you're trying to run away from the cops, you do it slowly.
You do it weird.
And
yeah.
so the depth of the step was very shallow, right? It was like 4, 6
Not
inches.
7
It wasn't
inches.
8 or whatever, right? And he fell and he rolled like just down the steps, and because of his girth and the shallow step, there was like no effect, and he just popped right up. Like
telling
if I
ya,
had done that, it would have been elbows and knees and ribs.
These
and,
bones hit
rolled
stuff.
right down. It was almost a ramp that he went down, and then
Well, I'll tell you what. I fell off a bike about 2 years ago. Fell off a bike, compressed my spine, which opened up a pocket of blood, which became a tumor, which had to be removed because it was actually impeding my nerves, right?
on a log in the hole in the bottom of the ocean.
Please,
it's a
2
song.
episodes ago, Glenn Morshower, I want to devote a religion to him. I won't tell him that 'cause he would think that's weird. But but anyway, that's me falling off a bike once. I watched Jackass and Johnny Knoxville, and I'm just like, ha, ha, ha. I had one accident basically in my whole life. And it just like fucked my ears up. Very strange.
This is the exact right conversation for we should be having after Paul Blart.
Yeah.
The round table of physical injury
I know.
based on watching Kevin James fall down. I mean, it's what he does best.
He gets wiped out in some hilarious ways here.
Now that would be the funny Jody Hill movie, to do an observe and report, but try and do it like Paul Blart, but it's just all about how much it actually hurts, and he has to
Yeah.
recover, and he really gets in.
And the bad guy always gets away because he's in pain and he can't get back up, because not all fat people can get up right away.
No, not
Just
all
saying.
bumbles bounce. No.
No. All right.
Observing
Segway-
Paul Blart.
Are segways still funny? He's on a Segway.
No.
Segway, that was like kind of
No.
the joke.
Fat guy in a Segway is hilarious.
Fat guy on a Segway, is that funny?
Sure.
All right.
You know, it's like a fat
buy that.
guy on
He
a
gets hit by a
moped.
car.
It's like a fat guy on a moped.
Yeah.
Riding mower, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Remember the
Toyota.
remember the Guinness Book of World Records, world's fattest twins? They were both
Yeah.
on motorcycles, all pouring over it. That was funny.
Yeah, it was funny. Next up.
I want a T-shirt of those guys.
I've never even seen it, but it makes me
Patent
really
pending.
laugh.
You've
not
never
seen
seen that?
Oh my God.
God. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm looking it up. Be prepared for you to get interrupted in a second, Paul.
It is like one of the quintessential Guinness Book of World Records photographs.
Yeah,
I
they're.
can just imagine things blubbering everywhere.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, it's amazing. The bikes don't stand a chance. Next up, the annual entry into Disney's Earth Day canon. This time it's Disneynature Monkey Kingdom. No, it's not the story of Mike Nesmith's media empire. It's a nature doc. Adam, let's talk about it.
Here we come, walk down the street. We get the funniest looks from everyone we meet.
Disneynature Monkey Kingdom does for monkeys what Disneynature Bears did for, well, bears, of course.
According to IMDb, this movie is shot in documentary style and follows the life of a newborn monkey and its mother as they struggle to survive within the competitive social hierarchy of the Temple Troupe, a dynamic group of monkeys who live in ancient ruins found deep in the storied jungles of South Asia. But as we all know, thanks to the internet, monkeys in South Asia are like rodents in American cities. They're just
That's why next year we can look
fairs.
forward to Disneynature Rats, a movie that follows two lovable and disease-filled rodents as they struggle to survive on the scraps of Chinese takeout and day-old Starbucks scones thrown out by Manhattan's Upper West Side socialites.
Oh, nice.
a bunch of monkeys living in the jungle until one day they find themselves forced to have to move to the big city, presumably to take advantage of the better school system, socialized healthcare, and for me, improv classes.
Sure.
IMDb.com has two conflicting trailers for this movie. One looks like it takes place only in nature, while the other one follows the monkeys into the urban world. For those of you who don't care about this movie yet, pretend it's like Predator meets Predator 2. Sold.
The one thing completely missing from both trailers is the narrator, Tina Fey. But we found some exclusive footage of Tina describing the monkey's experience right here.
Shut up, Lutz.
Oh, that was Alec Baldwin. Either way, in the trailer is this woman singing in monkey. Listen to this song.
Wait till you're announced. We've not yet lost all our graces. The hounds will stay in chains.
What is this singing style that's developed?
Do you not know that song?
No.
You've
Is
never
that a
heard
famous
that
song?
Yeah, it's a very popular song.
Is it?
Yeah, Lourdes.
Oh, is that Lourdes?
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard of her, but I didn't know that was.
It didn't sound like
It's a
English
lot
to me.
of chewing.
Yeah,
in
I mean
music
the song
today.
picks
chewing.
up into a real
okay.
nice upbeat tempo shortly thereafter.
Wait till you're
I could fall in love with a Nicholas Sparks
I don't know
movie
what
to
you
this
said.
song.
Me too.
Wait till
I
you're
feel like I need
announced.
to be in rain with my shirt off.
Wait a minute. I need the full Bart Kaya's
Sure, I'll translate for you.
translation.
Wait till you're announced.
Wait until you're announced.
We've not yet lost all our graces.
We have not yet lost all our graces.
Okay,
Well, I think it's lost our algorithm, but anyway.
The hounds will stay in chase.
Stay chaste. They don't have sex. I think that's what. I'm sorry, I'm translating your translation.
Sounded like monkey to me. Anyway.
I hate when I don't know the new popular song. Makes me feel like an old fart.
Oh, that's okay, Adam. This is already out of style.
Lourdes is so 2014.
This is honestly already a year old. This
Is it
song.
really?
Yeah.
See, I don't know. Sometimes I don't listen to shit. I don't know.
Somehow we keep up to date on movies, though.
Sometimes I turn the radio on and
absolutely.
listen to it.
There's
Hey,
no
to the
question.
table. Have you guys seen any of these Disney nature
No.
movies?
No.
I know that something bad's going to happen, and I can't have it.
Honestly, though,
No, but
monkeys are like the scourge of South Asia. The fact that they turn this into a lovable romp and then they're in
They're
the
the
city,
rats.
like stealing grapes from people's pockets. No, these things are like vermin, and I think everyone in that part of the world just wants to kill them all, right?
Well, there's one area where they just allow them, right? Like,
I don't think they have the ability not to allow
I
it.
think you're thinking of the island where they allow cats to run free.
I'm not.
No.
What are you talking
There's
about?
an island.
That was the farmhouse I grew up in Lewisburg, Ohio.
I hope that's
think,
their
but-
next Disney nature movie.
There's an island where
Pussy.
there's just cats everywhere.
Disney's pussy.
Disney
Disney's
nature
pussy.
pussy.
Wow, some reason all these Disney nature movies, they didn't really make a whole lot of money until we released Disney's Pussy. And then we just, I mean, huge
And
box
that was
office.
definitely narrated by Tina Fey.
We're having it analyzed why this was successful and the others weren't. We're going to try and emulate that.
You were saying, Karen?
I'm just
There's
saying I
an
want to
island?
move to the island of
island
misfit
of pussy,
toys.
yeah.
I don't know.
Now, all these movies, all these Disney nature movies, they take all the profits and then they give them to
Nature.
Disney.
They take the least profitable Disney movie of all year long and give all the profits to social charities.
Guardians of the Galaxy were hanging on to
Not
that shit.
$1 from Big Hero 6 went to anybody but the...
Cinderella, we're keeping all that money.
And they've invented a word, Disnature.
Disnature.
Because they spell it Disneynature all as one word.
Yeah. But Disneynature, not Disnature.
But it should be Disnature.
It should, well, that's what
Right?
you want.
You
Yeah.
then,
Word.
let me rephrase that. You've developed a new word.
They put it together.
Disneynature. That's a better way to do
You
it.
and Lourdes making up words.
Pronunciations.
I assume Lourdes is spelled...
more.
I win the high.
You know what?
With
Glazing.
the glazes.
That would be so great to redo that as Jerry Lewis.
I win the With his head in the
The ladies and the monkeys in the jungle and...
Oh my.
Nice lady with the monkey.
Good. I will chime in as one who has seen one of these movies.
Hey,
I
which
saw
one? Did you see
Chimpanzee.
Parrots?
They haven't had that.
Oh, okay.
Chimpanzee.
How was Chimpanzee?
It was actually good. You know, for what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's amazing, the shots they get.
When does the hunter shoot the mother?
That never happened.
Oh, good.
They kind of have it. Well, this one would be tough for them to have a non-human adventure, but most of the time they're having adventures outside of.
Wait, this
The
is their
human
second
world.
monkey movie.
Yeah, I guess
Well,
a chimp
people
is
love
a monkey.
monkeys. Yeah.
Chimpanzee and now monkey.
They work real cheap, so.
Same thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
You know, it's like a sequel. This is a sequel. Reboot. They're rebooting the whole franchise.
Wanna buy a monkey?
It's a shot-by-shot remake
Make a-
with a whole different set of monkeys.
next year we'll make apes. They'll never notice.
You're onto something, Paul.
We should have pulled the David Letterman quote from Cabin Boy. Want to buy a monkey?
Apes, gibbons, gorillas. We got a whole franchise.
All right, our next film is totally different.
Orangutan? Disney's Orangutan.
A serial killer movie set in Russia. Oh, another one of those. It's Child 44. Bart, let's talk about it. Bart? My son's name is
I haven't
Bart.
seen the first 43, but I don't know.
You'll never know what's
Did
happening.
you guys catch me up?
From the world's most exhausted mom comes Child 44.
Based on a book.
Then it's a movie.
All right. Child 44 is about a disgraced KGB agent who is tasked with investigating a strange and brutal series of child murders.
Wait, hold on a second. You mean children are doing the murdering?
Ooh, it's a Blumhouse production.
Or are the children the ones that are being killed?
Oh.
And are they being murdered by other children?
I assume all the above. It takes place in Russia.
Well, either way, it seems like Family Movie Week continues.
Won't somebody please think of the children?
All right, let's get to the story. Story-wise, Tom Hardy plays Leo Demidov.
Oh, Paul, you know, I actually take Demidov when I have a headache.
Demidov is banished to the bad part of Russia, i.e., not Moscow, for refusing to denounce his wife for crimes committed. Now, Russia and the United States didn't agree on much back then, but they came together on their love of denouncing, most of the time each other. The wife is played by Noomi Rapace, the most fun name to say in Hollywood today. Together, they all team with Mikhail Nesterov to catch a killer. Okay, now they're just making up Russian names. Oh, and it also stars Charles Dance.
Hey, spoiler alert, Paul. Charles Dance? He's got to be the murderer, right? Well, they set out to discover who's committing all these crimes in Stalinist Russia, and then set out to solve the harder task of finding out which of those murders weren't committed by Stalin.
Then really sad stuff happens because it's Russia at the end.
From the trailer, it appears that the Russians never laughed in the 1950s, and there was no sunshine. And that Russia had no...
In Soviet Russia, car drives you.
Smirnoff, I guess. Will Tom Hardy be menacing?
Good guess.
Will Gary Oldman yell? Will Noomi Rapace? See Child 44 to find out. There you go. That's
Noomi Rapace. Noomi. That's a... Noomi. That's an animated character name.
Paul, I see that Tom Hardy's in this, but I'll have to take your word for it because I've seen, 6 of his movies. I couldn't tell you what the guy looks like. He's literally a chameleon of an actor.
yeah. And now Mad Max is going to be entirely different from Child 44.
Oh, I forgot to be excited for one day about Mad Max, Paul.
The day almost went by.
Oh, my God, it almost went by.
I'm starting to see posters up for it, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well,
Do they have a-
that's...
do they have a script?
Fuck no, they got a poster.
They got a poster.
That's when it gets really exciting because I saw my first bus with Avengers: Age of Ultron on it today.
It's going up everywhere.
I was like, it's a real thing. Oh my god!
And then summer, and then 2 weeks after that, Mad Max.
I already saw a postcard, a really big postcard that goes on a billboard for Terminator.
Yeah,
That's been out there.
Wait a minute.
Actually, when is Terminator coming out? Because they got those ads up a little earlier than Ultron, and Ultron's May 1st. But I mean, how much advertising do you have to do? We all know.
Avengers is coming. Avengers is coming.
Will it have my boy in
living
it?
room.
I can't remember. Is this Avengers going to have Iron Man in it?
Yeah.
Oh, exciting. Okay. Well, that's
Does something happen? that's common? I couldn't think of a thing. Does
Do
Chris,
politicians cheat?
Yeah.
action happen?
And lie?
does Chris Hemsworth have a big hammer?
You guys were talking about.
Is most of those guys named Chris?
You guys were talking about child murder in Russia. What were you talking about?
Yeah, well, that's the plot. Well, that's why he gets exiled. Who's it's what's it?
But you said because there's no child murder in Russia.
Well, that's the thing. His child is murdered.
What gives with them?
What's the deal with Russia in 1953? Turns out there was no child murdering. No, his child has gone missing.
Right.
He tells the officials in Russia, "My child has been murdered." The officials in Russia, because they're so concerned with this like pristine image, say there's never any child murder in Russia. Your child was not murdered. Get to Siberia.
They're all dying of heart attacks.
They send him on. They banish him, and then he figures out that the serial killer has killed 44 kids. His is the and so, but that's just such an interesting Russian thing that like no, everything's perfect here. Everything is perfect. You know, it's like America.
Yeah.
I denounce that.
Consider it denounced.
It's been denounced.
So what was his job? Was he a Russian chauffeur? Wait, what was his name?
Pick up and drop off.
All right, forget it. All right, our final film of the marathon preview session on our way to breaking a record.
Sweet.
Record.
How many
Is
are we at?
True Story. Ironically,
True story.
Ironically based on a movie. Adam, let's talk about it. Here we go.
Many movies have used based on a true story to drum up interest in potential audience members. But this is the first movie to go so far as to actually call itself True Story.
Wow.
I guess True Story was a more marketable title than Inspired by True Events.
In True Story, reporter Michael Finkel, played by Jonah Hill, is informed that a prisoner played by James Franco is in jail and has been posing as Michael Finkel himself. With those two cast members in this must be the wackiest story of mistaken identity since Identity Thief.
I bet it's hilarious.
Wait a minute, what's this? What am I reading?
Despite being named after the first two words spoken before most of the stories told at the Laugh Factory tonight, True Story is actually not a comedy.
Ah, that's right. It stars Academy Award nominee Jonah Hill and Academy Award nominee James Franco. There are two sentences you never thought you'd hear, let alone back-to-back.
And now they're back-to-back. Oh, the irony of having a movie called True Story being based on the memoirs of a man who was fired from his job for falsifying facts. That's kind of like having a movie about Bill Belichick being called How to Win in the NFL Without Cheating All the Time.
Impressive how the New York Times in this film won't stand for made-up journalism. Judith Miller. Excuse me.
The movie is based on a book by the real Michael Finkel. The most fun name to say since Numi Rapace. Try it.
Michael Finkel.
Michael Finkel.
Finkel's Einhorn.
Like Paul Blart.
Finkel. Einhorn.
Numi Rapace.
Michael Finkel's gonna
Numi
doodle
Rapace.
dinkle.
Numi
Hey,
Rapace.
all right, listen, come on. This is a serious movie. All right, serious movie.
Oh,
No fooling around.
Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn
Is Finkel. Einhorn is a man.
There's your case of mistaken identity. That's the movie I want to see. Oh, wait, I already did. It was hilarious.
This movie looks good. Who knew these guys would be the anchors for your big-time, crime drama?
Yeah, that seems strange.
Is Jonah Hill wearing facial hair because it's a serious part?
Ooh.
Is he thin?
Ooh. Does he have glasses?
No, he's pudged up a little bit. And
All right.
glasses, yes.
Pudged up in
got
glasses.
glasses?
Must be a dramedy.
Maybe he can't grow facial hair.
It's a very serious movie. It looks this is like a Sundance movie, right?
I
This
think
is
he'll be great in it, though. I really like Jonah Hill.
I love him too. Wolf of Wall Street. You kidding me? Moneyball.
Well, that's funny. They both went in two different trajectories because James Franco used to be the serious actor, right? And then he got this sort of funny on thing. Jonah Hill was the completely goofy guy who got some serious on, and now they've kind of come back.
Met in the middle, and I guess
now
they'll
it still
pass
looks-
each other and keep going in their crazy directions.
But it still looks weird. These two in a serious movie.
And the story is bizarre. The story is about Michael Finkel, who was fired from the New York Times for falsifying some news reports or stories he was doing, and then finds out that there was a guy in Oregon that killed his family and pretended to be Michael Finkel, and then contacts the real Michael Finkel from prison, and they start having a relationship. And so this movie, True Story, is based
True story,
is based on the memoirs of Michael Finkel's recounting of this event. This is probably like the furthest thing from the truth ever, right? I mean, this has got to be, hey, let's take the memoirs of a man who's been fired from a job for lying about stuff he writes about.
But the guy that James Franco plays has been impersonating him for years, and he's obsessed with him, right?
Yes.
In that
I don't know if it's years or
twist.
weeks.
Oh, I think it's been a.
Is it years?
I don't know, but he's obsessed with him. Like, and then the trailer kind of lost me. It was like it turns out like he's doing a Joker thing. He's in the jail and he's manipulating some sort of thing. He's using him to come in and
feels very Primal Fear.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, with Ed Norton. The whole, I don't want to give anything away there, but a little bit of manipulation there.
It looks stylish too. I don't know who directed this movie, True Story, but it looks like it's
and wasn't there
slick.
a Talking Heads movie called True, or is it True Stories?
True Stories, David Byrne.
Oh yeah,
David
Talking
Byrne.
Heads.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
All right, well, that's it for previews. Let's get on to our guest segment. Now, last week, I attended the press junket for Alex of Venice. I talked about this film on What'd You See This Week, a couple of weeks ago. It's a great new indie featuring Chris Messina.
Merry Chris Messina.
Don Johnson and Mary Elizabeth Winstead in the title role. The film also stars Katie Nehra, who co-wrote the script. So I talked to her about getting involved in and making Alex of Venice. Let's throw it to me. Paul here on location at the press junket for Alex of Venice, and it's a good thing you're having a press junket for this movie because that means it'll go into the press and more people will hear about the film, and it's much deserving. A very easy-to-like directorial debut from Chris Messina, co-written by and co-starring the actress I'm going to chat up here for a little bit, Katie Nehra. This is where you hold because we're going to put in applause. So hold.
Good.
There we go. That was good. That was a good hold. So give us you've probably said it a million times on a press junket version of what Alex of Venice is.
Alex of Venice is, it's funny. I always say it's kind of a coming of age story, even though the main character is, in her 30s, but it's basically a story about starting over again, and all the characters are starting over in some way, shape, or form, even though they're all very different and at different points in their lives. So it's sort of a slice of life film that has to do with that.
And it's not easy.
No,
right.
It's not easy.
Because I saw this film a little while ago, talked about it on a segment of the show we have called What Did You See This Week? And that week I'd seen this, so I brought it up. And the fun is just watching her try so hard. It's just so hard for her to get everything together that she needs to once all the people in her life that she counts on kind of slip away. Well,
right.
George, right?
Yes.
Her husband,
Yes.
slips off to surf or whatever they do in Venice, find himself, right? A spin on what normally happens in movies where the woman's, the Julia Roberts or whatever, has to go off and find herself. Now, as the writer, is this something close to home for you?
Yes. The character of Alex was based on a woman that one of my writing partner, Justin, was dating at the time. And then the story of George and Alex had a very similarities to another friend of mine. I mean, I find that, when you write a character, yours normally starts with one person, but then as you're writing and things are happening in your life and your, friends' lives, you tend to take from them and kind of add it into the pot. So normally characters are big sort of blend of three different people, I find.
Where are you from? Are you from Venice?
Me? No, I'm from Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
This captured a part of Venice that I wasn't so familiar with. Like, I think Venice, I think surfers, pot dispensaries,
Right.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, there's a family having a whole family life in Venice. Lots of
Yeah.
that going on down there. And you weren't any part of that growing up? You captured it quite well.
Well, my writing partner lived in Venice at the time, and I now spend a lot of time in Venice. My boyfriend lives in Venice, so it's so funny. I never used to be in Venice, and now I'm basically becoming the mayor of Venice. So
the honorary
you've
mayor.
heard it here first.
The honorary mayor of Venice.
Yes, and I find that Venice, like you said, people have a certain impression of it, and Muscle Beach or the surfers or the potheads, and it's quite different than that.
Yeah,
so.
and this sheds a nice light on that part. That's where families are dealing with real stuff. Now, speaking of the family, you're the sister to Mary Elizabeth Winstead. By the way, Alex is a super sexy name for a girl, I think. Don't you think?
Yeah, I always love the name Alex.
It's kind of cool. And so we got the super sexy Mary Elizabeth Winstead to play your sister. Now, you guys seem very natural as sisters. You the eclectic one, she the one just very trying to keep it together, as I mentioned. Did you find that came naturally, or did you work hard on that through rehearsals, or how did you rehearse that?
We got on really well, and that isn't always the case. And not that you are like, oh, I just don't like this co-star, but sometimes, the chemistry isn't there, and we just gelled. And, I think we're both similar to the characters we're playing, so it's a good balance. It's not like two people with the same personality or whatnot. And we met a few times before we shot the film. But it also just is a testament to Chris and his directing and just how he's able to get such great performances out of, any actor, I think. And
a debut directorial. It's all debuts. Your writing debut, his directing debut.
A lot of debuts. And, he did a fantastic job. And we just got on really well. And, we did meet a few times beforehand, which normally doesn't happen. But we were lucky.
So, how did he get involved?
Chris?
Yeah.
Actually, I've known Chris for a really long time. We used to be friends when we both lived in New York and worked at the Labyrinth Theater Company. Philip Seymour Hoffman started this theater company. And then he lived next to me in LA on Sycamore Avenue. Then we kind of lost touch. And when I was writing this film, I've always been a big fan of his as an actor. And I had written down Chris Messina to play George. Like I wrote like a dream cast. So The Secret does work.
There you go.
And
you willed it. Quantum physics, everybody.
You can't just I think will it and not do anything, but you can definitely, write a specific thing and then try to go out.
Opportunity meeting preparedness.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And he had done a film with one of our producers, Lynette Howell, 28 Hotel Rooms. And so she said, why don't I get him this script? Because we knew each other, but I didn't have his number or anything like that. And he really responded to it. Originally, the script was called A Dirty Love Story, and there was many more characters. But the main story was the family. Dakota, George, Alex, Lily, and then we just started, building out that storyline.
And you've got Don Johnson in this film.
Yes.
Who, and I said this on the show previously. He's a great actor in that he's been a TV star for years, and you have to be. And Sonny Crockett is a legendary character from Miami Vice.
Absolutely.
So in a bit of Birdman casting, he plays an aging TV star who then is trying to succeed at a smaller theater in Venice just to be successful and to do something because it's his thing. But he's dealing with dementia on setting. But when you ask more of Don Johnson, he totally delivers. Because that's a role I wouldn't expect him to play.
Right. Yeah, no, and it's funny, Chris from the get-go had said to, everyone that was involved early on, like, what do you think of Don Johnson? And I was like, that's great. I've always been a huge fan of his. And like you said, I don't think you see him in a serious role like this, or I don't think you ever have, really. He kind of plays characters that are more flashy, kind of wink,
They got it together.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. You don't see him falling apart ever.
Not so much in Alex of Venice. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
And so it was definitely interesting to see that, and he did such a. I just think the world of him, and he did such a great job, and I think it's exciting to see him this way.
Were there any challenges working with Chris's schedule? I'm a big fan of Chris Messina's from Newsroom.
I know.
Played such a weasel in that. I loved him. He kind of came around, right? And Mindy Project, he's hilarious. That's a totally different kind of character. And now with both of those projects, you're shooting this movie.
Yeah, he would know better than me, but I basically feel like he didn't sleep for a month. It was because he was shooting this, then he went into shooting Mindy, and he was editing the film, like in his trailer, and doing the Newsroom. But he, like any actor, I think he loves to work, and if it's a passion project and something you really care about, you just find a way.
Did he allow for improvisation on the set?
Yes.
And more importantly, did you allow for improvisation on the set as the writer?
Yeah, I'm a huge advocate of improvising. I love it, and I think you can get if the other actors are open to it, and know how to improvise. Not everybody's the best improviser. But yeah, I went to the groundlings. And so I learned with improvising, you're always supposed to say like, yes. And like, if someone's improvising, you can't be like, no, that's not what's happening. Or no. And
start telling a long story.
Yeah.
Whip out a gun. All bad.
Yeah. We definitely had really great actors and people that were willing to play and really have, fun with it.
Yeah, that kind of adds to the naturalism, I think, that was there.
Yeah.
In the relationship I mentioned, not just with Mary, but with everyone else in the film. You really seem like a family. And you have a clothing line, am I right? I poked around online and saw that.
Yes.
Was it represented in the film? Because your character, sorry, give me your character's name again.
Lily.
Lily has an eclectic look compared to the rest of her family. And there's even a comment about the dress by one of the guys in the film.
Yeah, she most of the clothes I wore in the movie were my clothes because our budget was very tight. And Lily, is a failing fashion designer, but she would be more into fashion than everyone else. And we just do jackets now. The line's called Simone, and we just do leather jackets. And but I do wear one of them. Like the first time you see her, she's wearing a Simone leather jacket.
Very nice.
Yeah.
You got to work that in there.
Yeah.
As you should, right? With any good indie. Now, what challenges were there for you writing for the first time? IMDb at least says this is your first big credit. Sometimes I say that and they're like, I wrote 2 short films.
No, what's funny is someone else that interviewed us earlier was like, I see you wrote Little Birds. I was like, no, I didn't. Like, yeah, this is my first. It's writing, I think, is the most difficult art form. And I'm always a little suspect when people say they wrote a script in a month. I'm like, well, it's probably horrible and don't send it to me to read or give notes on. But it was, I think what really helped me, and that's a testament to Chris, is he said, once we start shooting the film, I want you to just forget your writer, put the actor hat on and not worry about that. And that was, I think my performance wouldn't have been up to my standards if I hadn't done that. Because then your focus is shifted.
Yeah, everyone's wearing different hats here, and they knew when to pull them off and put them on the right
exactly.
one. Yeah, it paid off. Who is your writing hero? Do you want to do more of this? I assume this was a great film. You want to write more,
I'm working on a script right now.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, gosh, who's my writing hero? I am always sort of astounded by the writers of Game of Thrones or someone that's writing something of that.
I need to pick something I haven't seen, but I've never seen Game of Thrones.
You haven't?
We're movie guys, the TV.
Yeah, I mean, I just find that writing it's so good, and it's so it's of a completely different time and era, and it's like I don't think they're improvising on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And I'm very impressed with that kind of writing. Like writing, I don't think I would ever try to do, or Shakespeare, or stuff that's almost there's such a rhythm to it, and that's the kind of writing I love to read or watch.
Yeah, I think you came out of the gate as most people probably should. Start close to home. Yeah. That thing that you can have huge success with, and then you can get weird after that.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, but the worst television of all time is on right now. Am I right? The worst television and the best television of all time is on right now. Am I right?
Yeah, there are some.
There's just too much great stuff to see out there, and I haven't got the Game of Thrones yet. Called out on the show. So let me ask you what we ask every guest who comes on our show. What's your favorite movie of all time?
Oh gosh.
And that's everyone's response, by the way, too.
Really?
Yeah. The pause. There's no way.
I do love Flirting with Disaster.
Really? Mm-hmm. It's just a flurry of things I haven't seen before. Thank you.
Oh, there you go.
I never saw that. I've caught up with that's Russell, right? David O. Russell. Mm-hmm. And I've caught up with everything he's done since. But I do.
That. I do think that's a really brilliant film.
Well, there you go. Relationship drama with humor.
Yeah, and it's got comedy. I just like how it has everything going on.
I could say the same about Alex of Venice. There you go. And it opens
April 17th.
April 17th. So get out there and see it. We're going to post a review on themovieguys.net as well. A big old positive one, because this is a great indie worth checking out. Chris Messina and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. And, of course, the great Katie Nehra. Wait, we'll put in more applause.
Thank you.
There it is.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Katie. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that's Katie Nehra, everybody. Shame you all didn't get to meet her.
She sounded sexy. Was she
Indeed.
pretty in person?
She's very pretty.
Yes. She has her own clothing line, so there you go. Right?
Well,
I feel like I've heard her name before. And she's a name,
Nehru,
right?
Nehru jacket is what you're thinking.
Oh,
it's
no,
Katie
Nehra.
Nehra. It's different.
Nehra. Nara. N-A-R-A, right?
Nehra.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
love
Karen,
Nehra.
yeah, you attended the Q&A with her after the screening of Alex of Venice. And then I got to go back and have an extra talk, which is worth doing because more people should know about this movie. If you want to see an indie, nary a false moment in it. It's a nice story. It takes place, well, like I said in the interview, the thing I was shocked most to find out, families live in Venice. You know, it's like...
But the real takeaway from this, two things. One is it is directed by friend of the show's friend, Chris Messina, and friend of the show being Beth Grant.
Friend-in-law.
Friend-in-law. Chris Messina directed it. And he does a really great job with directing it. But he also... somebody found a great role for Don Johnson. He is fantastic in this, and he's not goofy. He's real, and some shit goes down, and he handles it really wonderfully. I thought he did a great job.
And he doesn't use the N-word to make me uncomfortable, does he?
No, he doesn't.
He's always been a good underplayer, and he does that here too. You know,
But
it could be a showy part of a guy dealing with the onset of Alzheimer's, and it's not. It's underplayed.
One thing that Chris said when we just talked to him quickly afterwards is that whenever they cast Don Johnson in that role, he's such a handsome man and he's so healthy looking that a lot of people forget that Alzheimer's can happen to healthy people's bodies because it's the mind that gets affected. And that really confuses. It's hard to see because you think, oh, he's healthy. Why is he having this problem? It's really...
You don't think of Alzheimer's people as being tan.
He's tan and good looking, but he can't remember where he put his keys. You know?
Tan people don't get Alzheimer's, do they?
No.
Interesting observation, but you're right.
You think about a person suffering from dementia or Alzheimer's, you're gonna go, hey, he probably looks like George Hamill.
Right?
Now, while I went away to talk to Katie, you found the fat guy's picture?
Yes.
I did from the Guinness Book of World Records.
All right, we'll
the
post
fat
this
guys.
on Facebook.
All right, here are the fat guys from. That's the one. Right.
They're riding bikes and they are psyched about it. They're happy, happy fat guys.
And their pants, you said gingham?
Yeah, they got gingham pants on, which is not a good choice when you're that big.
A lot of chafing?
No, but I have a theory on this.
Yes.
That they're just wearing pants made of what you can find a lot of material
burlap,
of, right? Yeah. I mean, it might as well be burlap. It's just whatever there comes
parachute pants.
Yeah, whatever comes in yards, by the yard.
My dad used to have this terrible joke that he would make jokes to my mom saying that she was wearing her clothes from Omar the Tent Maker.
Ouch.
But I think that he was...
Snap.
These people are wearing clothes from Omar the Tent Maker.
Yes, they are.
All
And
right,
they're not wearing muumuus.
Well, let's not mess around. Let's play a round of...
What did you see this week?
That's weak, for those of you who couldn't tell. What did you see this week?
I'm going to have to take myself out of this because I was busy watching my TV. I had to catch up with Walking Dead and Better Call Saul.
Ooh. Well, movies on TV.
That's
Basically,
right.
TV movies, in a way.
I saw My Blue Heaven.
Ooh.
Watch My Blue, because I still don't have cable.
Great movie.
And I can't even get to TBS, so I'm going through my DVD collection every night.
No.
And
My Blue Heaven was
on purpose.
I'm watching this right now.
Because that's a classic TBS,
Yeah.
like come across Saturday
That's
afternoon,
true.
right?
You
Yeah.
He kept the flavor alive. He just chose
I
what
missed
He
TBS
only
so
owns
much.
TBS movies.
Exactly.
Still funny?
It's funny. It's a little clunkier than I remember. There are some big plot jumps that you don't remember being as unexplained as they are. Like he all of a sudden just builds the baseball diamond.
Yeah.
But the things that I really enjoyed, obviously, were Steve Martin's persona. But Rick Moranis is like a capable guy.
Yeah.
He's a good, capable FBI. He's not a goof. He does the one goofy thing where he gets out of the car before he takes off his seatbelt, but that's actually really out of character for him. Otherwise, he's a very capable FBI agent, which is always fun to watch because it's so against what you expect him to do. But Karen, maybe you can help me with this. 'Cause
Yes,
I think you
of
said
course.
you're a fan of this.
I do like it.
So Steve Martin shows up in Suburbia, which is weird because they talk about him being like put away somewhere in the middle of America.
Sure.
But it clearly is within driving distance of San Diego because Rick Moranis is constantly showing up from the San Diego office to take care of whatever's happening, right?
But where is he coming from? Isn't he coming from New York City?
Well, yeah, he's relocated from New York City.
More about the other people in the mafia won't be able to find him, and they're not looking near San Diego.
Correct.
Rick Moranis needs to be able to find him.
Yes, and so. At the beginning of the movie, you get the sense that he's in the middle of nowhere, And Rick says, well, call me in the office in San Diego. They always know where to find me. And then you realize San Diego's just down the street. He's just driving by and doing pop-ins with him.
I would want to be put there if I were.
San Diego's a great
yeah.
town, America's finest city.
Right.
I lived there myself for many years. But then the question I have was, he shows up with wife number 1. She immediately leaves because she doesn't want to live in suburbia.
Sure.
He then meets Carol King.
Carol King.
Carol King would be singing a song
That's
to
who
him.
I always
but
get those
Carol
two.
Kane hits people in the face with a toaster.
She could melt all that stuff. And so he meets her.
Melt all this
you could melt all this stuff. He meets her. They get married in Vegas. And then in the last part of the movie, he runs away with the redheaded cop, and they end up getting married.
Sure.
Is that do I have that right? That all happened?
I don't remember a divorce scene, but
I don't remember how they got rid of Carol Kane. I don't remember how.
they probably just said squirrel, and she looked the other way, and
Squirrel in the audience looked the other way. And went, oh, here's the other woman.
Is that Frank Oz?
Oh, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Did he do Man with Two Brains?
No, that was Carl Reiner.
Okay, because this was part of my twin set DVDs. No. So on one side is My Blue Heaven, on the other side is Man with Two Brains.
I believe the theme there is Steve Martin and not the directors. I'm going to go out on a limb.
Yeah, that's a good limb. Oh, God, Man with Two Brains. I owe that movie another viewing.
Oh, get that cat out of here.
I saw Furious 7. And it is quite a movie.
I've heard it is nothing but movie.
A lot of movie going on in that movie.
From
first
minute
of all,
one, right?
You can. James Wan is directing it, right? Who
I like that guy.
Directed The Conjuring, and he picked up right where Justin Lin left off. It's pretty much the exact same style. It's like the guys know now this is how you make a Fast and Furious movie, because the franchise is pretty crazy. How I still haven't even seen the first one.
Oh, okay. It's super low key. It was basically a low budge movie just to get some money out of.
Is that what we're calling them now, Adam? Budge?
Low budge. Whatevs. Tevs.
Well, I thought the second
I worked on a
one-
reality show, and there was a girl in it, a really annoying girl, who used to go, Tevs.
Oh, that is
instead of
horrible.
whatever. Isn't that horrible? I, to this day, will say only to myself, Tevs. I just find that so obnoxious and yet now adorable.
It's so low budge.
Tevs.
Tevs. That's
Tevs.
annoying.
Well, I saw Too Fast, Too Furious. Didn't
Yes.
like it. Saw the Tokyo Drift. Didn't like it. Saw Fast and Furious. Thought it was horrible. And then for some reason, 5, 6, 7 have been really entertaining. I don't know how a franchise turns itself. Well, I think we know The Rock, but there's a whole bunch of other things in expanding the size of the adventures and getting it out of the street racing. You know, these are a whole crime now that like the government's involved in sending them on missions and stuff. You know, their team does all this amazing stuff. But one thing James Wan did bring that I think was in the other movies as well, but now seems to be on display more than ever. And you can make a drinking game out of this. You do a shot every time there's a low angle shot on girls with skimpy bottoms walking. You know, it's sort of following them along alongside a bunch of sexy cars.
Are you saying upskirting?
Yes.
Every time there's upskirting, you drink.
Yes, there's
There
so
it
much of
is.
it. Here we are at the drag racing.
Yeah, you gotta hit that cue.
Girls dance, and then they're walking toward,
And then we go
here
right
we are in
after
Abu Dhabi, and it's upskirt shots of girls walking by sexy cars. Every location you brought to is led by that shot. And it's elsewhere too. It's all over the place. It's crazy. That shot is everywhere, and you will laugh after a while.
You know what? Maybe after a while, we should start doing that. If you ever do a wedding video for anybody, you could just upskirt a couple of the bridesmaids, start up with some of that music. That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
What a fascinating series. I'm a huge fan of sequels in general. Just the concept of sequels. Like I said, if there's a movie that there's 4 of, I'll see it. All of a sudden, I'm interested. Like Step Up to the Streets or whatever.
Time to get on those.
Yeah, I got to get on those. There's 4 of those now. But this is such a fascinating one because it was so kind of left behind, and the whole cast left for 3, and the whole cast came back together for 4, and then yes, it started this sort of new trilogy of 5, 6, 7. I think they're kind of connected plot-wise too.
Oh yes, 7 brings back more characters from 3.
Yes,
from Tokyo Drift.
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
Wait, Little Bow Wow. Ah, that's hilarious.
I think it's him. Yeah, I know.
Now, and I did like.
I think he's just Bow Wow now.
Bow Wow. Now. Oh, he's a serious actor now. I forgot. He did drop the little.
And he's an adult.
Bow Wow. I saw Interstellar.
Oh.
Check that one off my list finally.
Sure.
That was one I really wanted to see, and it was one of the. It's hilarious. Never mind. It wasn't nominated for almost any Oscars. I always think of it as the Oscar.
It won though. The effects.
Oh, is that what it won?
Yeah.
Effects? Yeah. Well, that's bullshit. Guardians of the Galaxy should have been nominated for effects. I don't even think it was nominated, was it? No, it was.
I'm not sure.
Whatever.
I just thought about this when you started saying it. It reminds me, whenever I think of Matthew McConaughey behind the books, it reminds me of that scene in Peter Pan where Tinkerbell flies around and goes behind the books and knocks them down. He's like
That's
Tinkerbell.
Cool. Well, there's a lot of like
You know?
very fun sort of mythological things or like fantasy things in it. I mean, it rides a lot of lines. It's a very confident movie that makes up its own rules as it goes along. It does whatever the hell it wants.
Oh, yeah.
But confidently, and since it's directed by one of the most masterful directors working today, it's all pulled off. It's got the sci-fi, it's got the family, it's got the
heart,
the bleak future, the heart. It's got, I mean, just everything's going on with this movie. It's 3 movies in one. It's 3 hours long, so it's got time for each of them. But therefore, it's epic in its, in its scale. It's a 3-hour-long movie. Now, and then what occurred to me, and I hate critics. They're just worthless. Obviously, they're worthless. I consider us journalists.
No, certainly. We're entertaining.
First and foremost, journalists and entertainers. But critics are just such, at the time that Interstellar came out, there was all this stuff, the science behind Interstellar, and people are controversial. And look, I know you got to like manufacture news every day. I think my ideal show would be like no news. And I just tell you when there's no news. And none of this stuff out there right now is news that's filling space. But anyway, the Interstellar, there was all this controversy and all the, how about this, was the science correct? I watched this movie, I'm like, how could you even have that discussion about this movie? This is a total fantasy sci-fi. Like, wait, I don't even want to go back and read what the discussions were about how, such and such scientist says this could never happen. I'm like, wait a second. By the end of it, he's in like his child's like imagination, interacting with her as a child and all this like crazy stuff. And I'm like, it's a complete fantasy by the end.
Yeah, they represented that incorrectly.
I mean, are they talking about just the jet thrust at the one part of the movie where there's jet thrust? Is that what we're discussing? Or the fact that there's not a wormhole next to Saturn? I don't know what the...
Hey, we're auditioning people. We're auditioning people for one-way trips to Mars. So
yeah,
we should be able to nominate people to send them to Mars.
How would you like to die?
How would you like to be voted off the planet?
I'd like to take all the criminals and just put
I
them
think Karen
into
says it's
space.
not a question. It's like, and now you
will
go
to
and die.
Mars.
It's like Russia. We got to say, no, there's no crime here. You're going to Mars.
You're going to Mars.
You're voted off the planet.
Voted off the
Hey,
planet.
the tribe has spoken. 6 billion people want you out of here.
Have fun, Justin
It
Bieber.
also bears mentioning that just now out on home video, Blu-ray, on demand, and all that is something we saw a couple of weeks ago at WonderCon, a movie called Batman vs. Robin.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was fun. That was fun seeing. Now, DC releases maybe 1 or 2 a year, these full feature-length animated movies. By the way, the minimum feature length is 76 minutes. That's what they all are. But, and they're these very cool, serious, well-animated takes on, like, classic DC things, or some original stories. This one's based on 2 Batman stories that I have some familiarity with. The Court of the Owls.
Some Grant Morrison stuff, right?
Some Grant Morrison stuff. Yeah. At the very beginning is a Grant Morrison character with the crazy mask, the pig mask.
Dollmaker.
That
one will leave it. That one will give you a creep. The Dollmaker's a character who like captures child slaves, and Robin goes after him.
Yeah.
Wants vengeance, but Batman teaches him justice, not vengeance.
Yeah. Cartoon, not for kids necessarily.
No.
And this is Batman's son. Batman in the comic books and now in this cartoon had a son with Talia al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul's daughter. And so this kid, unlike Robin, who was like, this kid that he brought in and trained him and stuff like that and was kind of very, very, abiding of him and respectful of him. This new kid, Batman's actual son, is like, whatever, dude. Like, he just does whatever he wants, and he's like a mean little kid. It's pretty cool. Yeah, Damian Wayne.
Where DC has fallen way behind in live action, they've
Yeah.
stuck to this animated thing quite well. I mean, I saw Flashpoint Paradox.
Very good.
Which made the Flash interesting. This makes Robin interesting.
I
Like,
know,
characters
right?
I wouldn't call interesting are suddenly like making for decent features.
But fun thing about WonderCon, I mean, I've watched a number of these movies in my living room, but to watch it with a crowd, and then when Nightwing, which is the adult Robin, the Dick Grayson Robin, he's grown up to become Nightwing for most of the last 30 years of comic mythology or whatever. When Batman's leaving and he says to the new Robin, Damian Wayne, he says, "I got you a babysitter," and cut to Nightwing, the old Robin, them beating the hell out of each other with sticks and fighting and kicking each other and stuff. The whole crowd just like, yeah, Robin. it, the original. You know what I mean? It's like it's so fun to be able to do that.
Yeah, and they got good voice talent going on there without having to get stars.
Yeah.
In fact, the only stunt casting is the doll maker is voiced by Weird Al Yankovic.
That's cool.
That's true. Although he's not doing a weird character.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
That's cool.
Oh, and last thing I wanted to say about Furious 7. They do give a good farewell to Paul Walker in the finale of the movie.
Okay.
And with clips from the old movies.
Okay.
And it's kind of a disservice to Vin Diesel, however, to see when he's like super charming. Because now he literally, now he's just walking around like struggling to say stuff.
Yeah.
He literally is,
Yeah, and he got famous for being like a charming,
yeah, and
cool
you see him
guy to watch.
smiling and
Yeah.
stuff. And
You know what? When you did that, it made me think, I wonder if it's some sort of a drug situation. Like maybe he just can't get it together anymore.
I doubt that because he showed up at like the premiere of this movie and he got real emotional talking about Paul Walker and he still's like, I worked the Fast and Furious 6 premiere and he's like, what's up everybody, da 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 da.
So who's
And then-
directing him to be so non-existent?
I don't
in
know. He's
his-
producing, so it might be his thing.
Now it's like taking on a life of its own that he's just such a badass that he now can't even talk.
But The Rock is having fun. The Rock's having fun with his lines.
That's
you know,
true,
like,
and he's a badass.
The Rock sees an explosion in the distance, and he's sitting there with his daughter, and he's like, Daddy's got to go to work, dear. And he's having so much fun with that. And he's got a cast on his arm, and he just like stretches his arm, and the cast busts off. And he's gonna go kick ass. You know.
Now, as I've said, there's a difference between comic book movies and superhero movies. For example, that Batman and Robin was a superhero movie. Is Fast 7 or Furious 7?
Yeah.
It's a comic book movie,
yeah.
right? I love
Yeah,
that.
like I said-
when you say breaking that cast and shit, I'm like, that's comic book shit, man. I
that's
love
exactly what it is. All right, so let's wrap up the show the best way possible with Karen's weekly celebration of those who make the movies. It's time for Karen's birthdays. Take it away.
Let's start off our week of birthdays by wishing a very happy birthday to Seth Rogen.
Happy birthday, Seth
Who
Rogen.
turns 32 but can play anywhere from a stand-up comedian to a stand-up guy.
Whoa.
What?
32?
I don't know. That's what it said. I was writing these
I
really
believe
fast.
that. This
Isn't
dude
that
started
crazy?
in Freaks and Geeks, and he was like mid-20s in 40-year-old version. 42. Yeah, right.
42 maybe, I don't know. But he can play anywhere from a stand-up comedian to a stand-up guy, working to inspire change and raise awareness for Alzheimer's disease among the millennial generation with his hilarity for charity. Have you guys heard about that?
But it rhymes.
It does.
I hear he gives the first of his money to pale people with Alzheimer's, and then if there's any left over, they give it to tanned ones, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
Actually, quick story about that. He went to speak to Congress about it, and all the congressmen took their picture with him and didn't stick around for his speech. Because they're
What a bunch
fucking assholes.
Because
they're
assholes.
congressmen.
Well, we
Total
always knew we
assholes.
liked Seth, and now we know we like him even more. According to Rotten Tomatoes, his favorite 5 films are The Big Lebowski,
Oh,
Ghostbusters,
nice.
The Last Detail, Total Recall, and Goodfellas.
Ha, that's a good bunch.
Absolutely. Pretty much a movie guy's best of list.
Except for Last Detail. But anyway, move on.
Let's all just take a second.
Bit of
think
a
about
yawner,
it.
right? Did you ever finally watch that?
Which
that
one?
5 Easy Pieces?
Oh, 5 easy pieces.
Yawn.
I was too
Boring.
young to watch 70s movies. I need to watch them again.
You guys, what's your
Yeah.
favorite Seth Rogen
True.
movie? Let's go around. Paul, let's start with you. Favorite Seth Rogen movie?
Tie between 50-50 and Knocked Up.
Those are my 2
Wow.
favorite.
Oh, yeah?
That's the tie, too. All right,
there you
Adam.
I've never seen 50-50. Pineapple Express has crept up there very recently. I watched that movie a lot now, and I enjoy that quite a bit.
All right, Bart.
40-year-old virgin.
Yeah, that's up there too.
And I don't consider that a Seth Rogen movie. I'm not a big fan of his, but I had to answer.
He says on
Grandpa
IMDb.
Caius.
Seth Rogen went to an agency and they asked him, what was one of your goals? He said, to be in a Kevin Smith movie. Apparently. And then he also said, that goal has not changed. Apparently, IMDb is a little behind because I believe he was in Zack and Mary Make a Porno. What else
Yes.
was he in? Anything else?
You know what? Great. Oh,
Kevin Smith? Any
Another
other
Kevin
Kevin
Smith
Smith?
movie?
It's the only one I can think of.
But at least we know he was in that, but
Well,
apparently
yeah.
IMDb does not know
That's
that.
a great rewatch, by the way. The first time through, I was like, I kind of wasn't sure what the game of it was, but it's like, I mean, the great thing about Seth Rogen is he nails every line that is given to him, and so all that Kevin Smith dialogue, it just the way he nails it is so fun to listen to. It's really I got a huge appreciation for the craft of Seth Rogen by rewatching Zack and Mary Make a Porno, which I didn't think it was that good the first time I watched
And
it.
just
Anyway.
think, he's only 32, so he's got years of movie making ahead of him. Next up, let's wish a very happy birthday to Andy Garcia, who turns 58, but can play anywhere from Cuban to Italian. Here's a fun fact. We almost had 2 Andy Garcias walking around. He was born as a conjoined twin. His twin was no bigger than a tennis ball and was surgically removed from his shoulder, where he has a scar to this day.
You ever seen the movie Basket Case?
That'll do it.
I want to write that about Andy Garcia.
This might explain why Andy refuses to do nude scenes. He once walked out of an audition when asked to remove his shirt, which makes me wonder if he would ever make it in Hollywood if he were a woman. People are constantly asking women to take off their shirts.
And then later was the person that asked him to take off his shirt murdered? Basket Case. I'm telling you, to see it. I have a theory now about Andy Garcia.
And lastly, let's wish a very happy birthday to Emma Thompson, who turns 55 but can play anywhere from sophisticated to well-mannered. We all know her from her breakout role in Sense and Sensibility opposite Hugh Grant, Love Actually with Hugh Grant, Impromptu, which also starred Hugh Grant, and Remains of the Day, where Hugh Grant also made an appearance. But did you know that she was originally cast as a lead in Basic Instinct, but she refused the role?
She refused to show her beef.
When she was asked about Sharon Stone's appearance, she said, as far as I can see from Sharon... Wait, let me do this again. As far as I can see from Sharon Stone's love scene in Basic Instinct, they molded her body out of tough plasticine. She was shagging Michael Douglas like a donkey, and not an inch moved. If that had been me, there would have been things flying about, hitting me in the eye. She is awesome. She can laugh at herself just as much as she can be persnickety.
She has 2 Oscars.
Yes.
Persnickety.
Sensibility script, I believe, and Best Actress for Howard's End. She should have a 3rd because she was fantastic in Saving Mr. Banks.
She was great in Saving Mr. Banks. And
it wasn't even nominated.
Bart, you know how much I love to hear when celebrities sing?
It's true. People ask me, can you tell me 2 interesting things about Karen? And I said, yes. She'll take her shirt off, and you don't even have to audition her.
I'll show you my conjoined twin.
Her conjoined twins. That's what she calls them. Her conjoined twins. And 2, she loves when celebrities sing.
I do, and we're in for quite a treat because a little Emma Thompson singing never hurt anybody, especially when it's the Lambeth Walk, where she's singing with Robert Lindsay.
Anytime you're Lambeth Way, any evening, any day, you'll find us.
Where's this from?
It's from a Broadway production. She did this, I think, on the West End in London.
Me and my girl, you did this show.
I did this show. I didn't play this part. I played the money-grubbing whore, but yes. Hey.
Well, is Lambeth Walk anywhere near Cockfosters?
Just down the lane.
That wraps another movie showcast, everybody. Together we are the movie guys. Individually we are
Caroline.
You can all follow us at Twitter at The Movie Guys for daily jokes and links. Also, Facebook.com/The Movie Guys, as well as iTunes, Vimeo, YouTube, SoundCloud, Tumblr, Instagram, all that shit. Thanks to Katie Nehra for appearing on the show, talking about Alex of Venice. Check it out, opening on demand and in select theaters, April 17th. Check out digitalmindproductions.com for my production company, which helps make the show. TheBoubet-sisters.com.
Oh, I get it. Boubet.
At Adam_Witt. You got a Twitter yet, Bart?
Yeah, at Bart Caius. At
Bart Caius. Yeah. There you go. Also, thanks to Steve Schultz for his writing contributions to the show every week. And remember, you can find everything we're up to at themovieguys.net.
Oh, wait a minute.
Nice.
I've been reviewing the Movie Guys Hall of Records, and our previous record for number of previews is 6. So I think we need to do 2 more movies to break the record.
Shit, did we only do 5?
Yeah, there's only 5.
Where was my counting? Okay, well, what can we preview?
Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Okay, we'll preview that in May, Adam. We'll
okay.
get there. How about something older? Does anyone know a movie worth reviewing or previewing twice?
Avengers: Age of Ultron.
All right, something else?
Hold on, Paul. Let me check TBS. Ooh, The Net.
The Net. All right, quick preview.
The Net. Dennis Miller and Sandra Bullock engage in a thrilling game of cat and mouse as they are pursued through the world wide web of intrigue. What is the internet? Find out in The Net.
All right, that counts.
Okay, good.
All right, well, one preview away from a record. That's 6.
going.
That tied us. What else is on?
I don't know. The Dodgers game.
The Dodgers game. All right, preview.
All right, we're preview. Okay. Los Angeles and Arizona square off in a thrilling game of cat and mouse as any ball could be hit and any base stolen in this intriguing game of balls and strikes. What is the infield fly rule? Find out in Dodgers versus Diamondbacks.
Good enough.
We won.
That was close.
All right, well, that's good news. We'll be back next week with a new Harrison Ford movie. That's good news.
What?
Bad news, it's a period drama. We'll see you then.
Yeah.